Being nearly 4 years old, the James brand Carter is probably now at the price that it always should have been. I was able to get my hands on one for less than $100 with VG10 scale blade steel. My Carter scales on this particular model. I have the plain edge version. I feel like this is now the value that it should be. And there's always been an issue when it comes to James brand knives. The value that they present, are they too much? Are they the right price? Full price, I think that this is too much. I've had about a week and a half to test this out. I bought this with my own money. I don't have any communication with James brand or anything like that. I was able to find this on backcountry.com, which I bought stuff from them before. But this has a lot of features on it, which I like. Give me a lot of good vibes. But then there's just like, so much competition at or below it. I'm going to tell you where I think this sits, whether I think this is worth it, and some things that I do and don't like about it. VG10 over other premium steels. I guess you can consider VG10 a premium Japanese steel. I guess that's what we would call it. It's easy to sharpen in my experience with my Spyderco knives that have VG10 on them. It's pretty resistant to rusting, holds the edge for a decent amount of time. I think that it can have a little bit higher of a toughness. It's really slated for kitchen knives is where I see it used a lot. Don't really see it in too many pocket knives other than Boker seems to lead the way on that, super strong, and so does Spyderco. And I'm pretty sure you guys can comment down below, let me know other brands that have that as well. So of course the Carter has been out for a number of years. I've always been disinterested in it because of the pricing. You can get this in either G10 scales or micarta. It has a blade length which is 2.8 inches overall, the entire thing. It looks pretty good. It has a drop point. It does have, it's about 3 ounces. They say that this is really kind of slated for weekend camping or hiking, or I don't know about hunting with the micarta, because it's going to discolor. It's eventually going to start to look a little bit weird, and I don't know if I will want that for this particular knife. The thumb disc or something I'm trying to get used to. I don't think I've owned a knife with thumb discs before. And so I was looking at the tactile knife. I think the Mariner has thumb discs, and that was something that was really interesting to me. And these are something I'm still trying to just get used to. I have a lot of misfires with this. Maybe I kind of wish it had thumb studs, but it does. I guess it's supposed to make it more ambidextrous because of this, but so are double thumb studs. So I'm not really sure exactly how that, but I will say this, it does have like this curved design, so in your hand, ergonomics wise, it feels really good. The pocket clip is fantastic. I love the way that the fit and feel of it. It doesn't really necessarily get in your hand when you're using it for cutting tasks. Is it like the best for gripping? Drop point is a great everyday type of blade shape. But if you're going to be using it for cutting fruit and for utility cuts, maybe you want to look at a Warncliffe versus getting something like this. But all that being said, I spent $84.48 on this. I got it for 50% off. This thing MSRP is between $170 and $184, depending on if you get micarta or G10, if you get partial serrations, if you get a plain edge. It's a lot. At full price, this thing is grossly overpriced in my opinion. I've kept the box for a while because James brand is getting a little bit more open about where they're doing manufacturing now. I think that they got a lot of ridicule over that over a number of years, kind of like not owning it, not talking about it. So I like the fact that they are now just letting you know straight up. But at $84, is it worth it? I've seen a lot of problems with people saying that theirs are not centered. I didn't have any issues with mine not being centered. Mine came in, it's been centered. I haven't had to take it apart, do no adjustments. I haven't had a lot of play in mine. I like the back spacers. Like, mine has been really, really good. Would it be fantastic for others? I don't know. It is ambidextrous. You can move the pocket clip around if you want to. At $84, this feels like a value. With comparing it with other knives that it may have VG10 blade steel, I have a Spyderco PM3, a Spyderco Delica 4. Those both have VG10. I spent like $90 on my Delica 4. I think my paramilitary, my Para 3, I spent $140 or something like that. My Police 4. So Spyderco is known for using VG10 scales very, very quite often. They have a slide lock, which is their version of a crossbar lock. The axis lock is made famous, obviously, by Benchmade, and a lot of other companies have kind of came through with their own versions of that, whatever that means for them. I like the subtle branding, just simply says James on there, nothing over the top. They kind of just keep it very, very simple. It's a very good looking knife. Ergonomics are fantastic, but I don't know if the value is there for the price point that they want. At $85, this price is, if you're looking at this knife for 4 years or however many years, this is the price to buy it now. If you want, like, I would say 90% of the functionality for probably half the price, I would always probably suggest the Remit Rhino. The Remit Rhino is normally comes in between $40 and $55. This is a button lock, obviously. More ways to open it with the front flipper. You have the double thumb studs. So just it's a lot more fidgety of a knife. It's a lot funner knife to have. Still has micarta scales. This has liners in it. Still has the backspace. This is a well-built knife to be such a reasonable price. This is 14C28, and arguably you're not going to notice any difference with everyday cutting tasks. So, suffice it to say, it may be easier to sharpen VG10. I mean, I'm not good at sharpening many knives at all, so I'm gonna struggle with whatever I sharpen. I have to take my time and really focus on whatever I decide to do. If I had to have it for me personally, if I had to choose between these two at full price, I would choose the Remit all day long. But if it was between the Remit and it was between this James brand after about 2 weeks of use, I probably would choose the James brand because it is a little bit smaller in the pocket. It's a little bit, I think it looks a little bit better if we're going off straight aesthetics. And so the Remit does have the rhinoceros name kind of makes sense for the Remit. The action on the Remit is significantly better than the James brand, but I've had this for over a year. I've opened it I don't know how many times, probably hundreds of times. So once I get this up to that level, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fantastic as well. It's just not there yet. So something to think about. But if you're really trying to figure out what's going to be a good everyday carry, something that can also transition to a weekend beater, then I think you're better off maybe looking at maybe spending a little bit more money and get it a Benchmade Griptilian. Now the Griptilian, it has different features than the Carter. This one is, I think these are working FRN scales. The ergonomics feel fantastic. If you get the full size Griptilian, it's a little bit more. This is the mini Griptilian, but you're getting, argue to say maybe a better blade steel with S30V, American made steel, American made knife. Just a very good looking knife overall. This is a great beater, a great knife that you can take out on the weekends, have no issues with worrying about leaving this out in dew or overnight or whatever. You get a lanyard hole, it's Benchmade's warranty, it's made in America. So I guess if you're trying to figure out, like, if I want something that's going to be more well-rounded, better use cases in multiple scenarios, I'm probably going to spend the money, even though it's a little uglier, probably get the Benchmade mini Griptilian, mainly because the mini Griptilian is going to be better suited for actual tasks outdoors. You're not going to give an F about these scales if you have blood on your hands, if you have sweaty hands, water on your hands, processing a kill, using it at a campsite, using it for whatever. This is more durable for that. They say this is good for weekend camping and hunting. Okay, maybe, but if you do anything else, this is gonna, micarta does gather the oils and dirt from your hands. I don't know if I would want to grab on this with bloody hands or bloody gloves and it lived to see a better day. But that's just my opinion. The James brand at $85 is almost worth it. I think it can come down a little bit more, but because if you're thinking about the comparisons with other Spyderco knives and Boker knives, which are all around this price point, now the price is fair and reasonable. Don't buy this price at its full retail price. If you do decide to do that, then I have a bridge I can sell you. If this is your first time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.